Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Institute Supervision Guidelines Manual Video Explainer. My name's Lee Woodward. I'll be hosting today's program and giving you some understanding of what you need to know regarding the Office of Fair Trading Guidelines and the Real Estate Institute Manual of Guidelines so that you can create your own manual and checklist for the protection of your business and real estate agents as a profession of real estate. Recently, there was a fantastic webinar done on this very topic featuring the CEO of REI, Tim McKibben, and Heidi Campbell, our General Manager of Realtair. And during this webinar, they answer all the industry questions about what you do, how you do it, and how it comes together. My job today is to give some highlights and clarity and show you how the technology works that is holding this valuable information. So let's get started with point one. Firstly, the Office of Fair Trading, the Commissioner, has now released their guidelines of what they would like the real estate businesses and practices to be operating and having their own set of checklists, processes and procedures to be compliant. To assist the real estate industry, the Real Estate Institute has brought out the manual of these guidelines and checklists, allowing you to modify and make your own. Realtair is the platform that is holding all this information together as a conduit of information, meaning we are setting up a pitch account for each of our people that purchase the guidelines manual. And what you'll be able to do there is download the checklist, get the latest and current information, and that becomes your go-to place for the most relevant and current information and guidelines. As you download that into your own folders and information and do any modifications that you can to the information you can modify, and let me give some clarity to that. With the Office of Fair Trading, the Commissioner guidelines, you cannot change those. They are locked in stone, they are the guidelines. The ones provided by the Real Estate Institute are done in Word, and some of those are fillable PDFs. You can modify those to be and work with your own business because it is your guidelines that is now compliant to the OFT, and the REI has assisted you by getting you 95% there, going right through all that information and providing the guidelines framework that allows you to be compliant. And it was really good in the webinar when Tim actually mentions this and discusses how this actually works.
In the document itself, there is a discussion about a particular area. So let's say we talk about underquoting and we talk about the estimated selling price and these sorts of things. So if you have a look at that section when we get off the webinar and you read that section, it'll give you an overview about what is required. It also gives you links from there into the legislation. So you are being directed at precisely the right part of the legislation to obviously enable you to go and do deeper research should you wish. And then it provides you with a checklist that you can work through to be able to say into your office as the licensee in charge of your office, this is the procedures, the processes that you are required to undertake as part of satisfying the determination of the estimated selling price. So as a licensee in charge, you have the obligation under the guidelines to be able to have practice and procedures in place that you can show were followed to arrive at the estimated selling price.
Prior to doing this recording today, I've just watched that entire webinar, and it's such a valuable piece of content, not only because it explains in detail, but the questions that it answers from you, our real estate industry. Let's discuss where you're going to see the information, how it's held, and I'm going to cross to Heidi to explain exactly how it's loaded in. Now, we're using Pitch, and just so you know, Pitch is how we win business in real estate. It's how we do our price updates, our proposals. We've just adapted the system to hold the information for you with the supervision guidelines. Now, when we're pitching for a brand new listing, we pop in the address. So I suggest you use your agency address because that's going to be the master file where you're downloading this information to create your own version of the guidelines and the checklist. Let's cross to Heidi.
So I hope you can all see my pitch dashboard. I'm actually logged into Tim's account at the moment. So when you first log into Pitch for the first time, you're going to see that the guidelines have already been created on your dashboard. So you've got two ways now that you can access the dashboard. If you're not interested in customizing the guidelines, you can view the details by clicking the three dots on the tile, clicking View, and then you can access the guidelines this way. As we scroll through the guidelines, you can see we've got all the relevant links associated to each section. We've also got here the REI checklist, and we've also got the COVID safety notices that Tim was talking about previously as well. If you click on the REI New South Wales checklist button, for example, it's going to redirect you to a Google Drive where you can actually download all of that documentation to your own file or your own cloud as a Word document, so you can save that for your team.
As you can see from what Heidi just showed you, Pitch is holding the live information, meaning if the REI update the Word documents or the checklists, the latest version will be in Pitch, as the link stays alive, current and relevant. As you download that into your own Dropbox or cloud folder, that is your version of your manual, procedures and processes that is compliant to the current OFT. It is a great suggestion that in notifying your team of your document, I would send them a link to your document, wherever you're storing that, and put a receipt email on it so that you can see that they've opened it, and that is your notification and qualification that the team were notified about the actual manual, meaning your version. Let's cross back to Heidi, and for those of you that are going to administer the actual folder, make changes, add branding, Heidi can show you how that works.
So what you can actually do is go into this edit. You can go to our advanced edit feature, and this is where you can actually go through the document and you can switch off those sections that don't apply to your business. So just as that's loading now. So as mentioned previously, you do have the ability to go through and customize this a bit more to switch sections on and off that don't apply to you. So on the left-hand side here, you can see all of the sections that are available in the guidelines at the moment. But for example, it might be that, see, the licensee in charge or the trust accounts procedures is probably a better example. That might not apply to your specific company. So you can come through and you can switch on the eye and it's going to turn that section off. So then when you go to download a copy of the guidelines, it's only going to have the relevant sections pertaining to your business available for you to view. So I'll just jump back to the dashboard and I'll show you how we can customize that a little bit further. So what I just showed you, that was based on the guidelines that'll be within your platform when you first log in. The second option we have is if we click on this create button here, and please just keep in mind this is part of our proposal workflow. So you can see that it's asking for an address and it will ask for vendor details, but it's just part of our workflow as being a proposal platform. So it'll just be yourself as the agent. We're going to choose the REI New South Wales as the template type. Just put in your business address. Just select a type and then click next. So the next section, it is going to ask for some vendor details, but just put in your own business details here, just your own name and your mobile number and email address. So on the left-hand side here, we're going to actually follow this bouncing ball down the line, and these are the sections we're going to complete to customize this more to your office. So first is additional documents. So this is where you can upload some additional documentation, could be some procedures that you want to include in that bundle. It's uploading a PDF file. So it's as simple as dropping that PDF from your desktop, or you can select one from your drive. I'll just select an example PDF I have here. And you can add in multiple PDFs by just clicking add another. When you click submit, next is some video content. So if you have some video content you'd like to include in this, we have the ability for you to upload either a YouTube or a Vimeo link for your team to bundle that into your live document as well. If you don't want to add in a video, that's fine. Just leave this section blank. You can click submit to move on. I'll just copy the link here just so you can see how it displays. And finally is the ability for you to customize that with your own logo. So you can drop in a copy here of your logo. Once you submit, that is then going to generate the guidelines for you with your additional customized features in there. Again, you can use that advanced edit feature, go through, switch on and off whatever sections apply, and then you will also be able to download a copy with all of your customizations within there as well by clicking on this download button on the right-hand side.
Well, that brings us to the end of our video explainer. I do highly recommend that you watch the webinar, the full webinar with Tim and Heidi. Great questions were asked, and many of the things I've covered so far, but it is definitely worth the watch to go through that. From here, or where to from here, you will be receiving an email from Realtair, not the REI, as Realtair is hosting the information in the Pitch platform. Once you receive that with your password and login, you'll be able to go in and see the one template that you have in there that you would like to activate and take the steps that we have done so far. For any further information, feel free to call the Realtair Academy on 1300 367 412. However, by watching this video explainer, share it with your team, watching the webinar, you've got everything you need. This has been a great collaboration. I want to thank the REI for inviting Realtair to not only host this information, but introduce our company to you. And if you've got any information about digital prospecting, how to pitch and win business, and flow, again, call that same number, and we'd love to hear from you. I'm Lee Woodward, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the future.